The Hub is presented to you by Calvo Enterprises, Inc.
United Airlines has won a long-sought slot at Tokyo's Haneda Airport to serve a new direct flight to Guam. It may be just one flight for now, but a very important one. Haneda's location within the Tokyo city limits makes it a much more convenient connection to Guam for the millions of potential customers within the metropolitan and surrounding areas. In short, it could provide another much-needed boost for key Japanese market arrivals. And for Guam customers, especially business travelers, a direct flight into Tokyo also promises added convenience and global connections. Coming up on The Hub, we speak with United's Managing Director for Airport Operations in the Pacific, Sam Shinohara. He'll talk about some of the game-changing impacts of the new direct flight to Tokyo. We'll be right back.
The Hub is presented to you by Calvo Enterprises, Inc. The Hub is presented to you by Calvo Enterprises, Inc.
Hafa day, everyone, and welcome to another edition of The Hub. I'm Nestor Lecanto, and our guest this week is Mr. Sam Shinohara, who is the United Airlines Managing Director for Airport Operations in the Pacific. Basically, I like to think of him as a top executive for United Airlines on Guam. Welcome to the show, Sam.
Hafa day, Nestor. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
We brought you on to talk about this new Guam to Haneda route, which I think many people are calling a possible game changer. And I know that United has been wanting the slots at Haneda for quite some time. Can you explain, first of all, what that process has been like, and then how you came about to acquire the slots at Haneda?
Yeah, well, hey, thanks for the question, Nestor. So if I could pick one word to describe it, maybe very involved. I'll take us a little bit of a walk back in time. So we started, I think, in 2019 when route authorities became available. And at that juncture, United Airlines was the only one who put in an application for Guam. Unfortunately, they approved application awards for other destinations, but not for Guam. And then COVID came and we weren't able to, fly anything. But we started our operations back in 2022 in Haneda, and then had the opportunity, or we not quite an official opportunity, but we saw an opportunity when other folks were not utilizing their slots in Haneda. And we wrote a note to the Department of Transportation asking them, saying, hey, we noticed not everybody's utilizing their slots. We would love to have the opportunity to fly between Guam and Haneda. We're ready to go. Please give us an opportunity. They said, no, we're going to give the other carriers an opportunity to utilize those slots. Then, lo and behold, the same slot that we were asking to utilize was returned by the carrier. And just as soon as they hit return, we submitted our application to provide service between Guam and Haneda, and then within a couple of weeks' time, the Department of Transportation, granted our request, and here we are today with the only carrier who has, number one, shown interest in a Guam and Haneda route, and the only carrier who has the equipment and ability to operate between Guam and Haneda, and we're really excited that we're going to be able to provide this service on May 1st.
Yeah. Most people know that Haneda, of course, is within the metropolitan Tokyo area. United has flown to Tokyo through Narita, which is a couple of hours away, perhaps. So explain its significance to Guam, especially for Japanese tourist arrivals, of having the slots at Haneda.
Well, so number one, I think our presence in Narita is not going to change, and that's going to remain a pivotal component of our network and our ability to connect passengers, across Asia and into the United States from Guam. And so none of that is going to change. The exciting thing about Haneda is that airport is in the heart of downtown Tokyo. And so for that traveling passenger originating from Japan, no longer needs to think about jumping on a train, taking a car, a taxi, or a bus, an hour or 90 minutes from downtown Tokyo into Narita to catch a flight to Guam. He can start his journey, with basically a 15 to 20 minute cab ride or a shorter train ride from downtown metropolitan Tokyo into Haneda Airport. So that's going to make it super convenient for folks, and save the traveling public in Japan a couple of bucks. Much needed dollar savings based on where the yen is right now, and so that's super exciting. And then on the other side of the coin, for a traveler from Guam, you will arrive into the heart of downtown Tokyo, and I mean, if you're arriving pretty late at night, the reality is a flight leaving at 5 o'clock on Guam, arriving into Narita, you're going to be checking in the hotel the same time that person is departing Guam at 7:30 to catch arriving into Haneda. So it's going to be great. I think it's going to be benefiting everyone on both ends, especially the traveler out of Guam. I'll say that to catch a 5 o'clock flight out of Guam to Narita, you're probably going to have to leave work a little bit early because you want to get to the airport, at least an hour, if not more, before your flight. And so you're bugging out early. You have to pack, go get your stuff, and come to the airport versus a 7:30 departure, arriving in the heart of downtown Tokyo. Be able to complete your workday. For someone like you, Nestor, I know you've got things up until the news hour, and so I think this is going to work out fantastic for both the Japanese traveler who we're really excited to provide this service to, and certainly for the people of Guam as well that want to experience Tokyo.
All right, can you talk a little bit more about the equipment that you're going to be using, and more about the times, the times for departure and arrival, both from Tokyo and from Guam?
Absolutely. Yeah. So we're going to use a 737-800. I think everybody's very familiar with that airplane in this part of the world. That's the consistent equipment type that we have for all of our narrow body flights. It has 166 seats, 16 seats up in the front, and 160 seats, 150 seats in the back of the airplane. So a lot of seats to accommodate the traveling public. I think the good thing about this flight is, really happy that it's given us the ability to add yet one additional airplane to the fleet here on the island. And so we now have a fleet of 10 airplanes that are dedicated to providing service in and out of Guam. So that's really exciting for the team here because that means more work for our tech ops team, more flying for our flight attendants, our pilots, and certainly more work for our airport folks. And so that flight between Guam and Haneda departs Guam, I believe at 7:30. It's a 7:30 departure, gets into Haneda around 10:30, and the return flight is just before midnight, getting in just after 4 a.m. Into Guam. And so we're going to need a lot of support from everybody, Nestor, to make it work. While we're super excited about it, this is not the ideal timing for this particular flight. But when you can get a slot in Haneda and you got your toe in that door, boy, oh boy, do you push that door down. And that's exactly what we're doing. And so this is our entry into this market. We're going to fully take advantage of it. But our sales team is working really hard with just about everybody. And so, it really starts in Japan because, our hope is that we get Japanese tourists to flood the market here. And we're working with all of the consolidators and all of our travel partners in Japan to fill up this airplane. The feedback we're getting is not an issue departing Guam, arriving into Haneda, but certainly there's a lot of concern about departing Haneda, arriving into Guam at so early in the morning, and potentially having to pay for an additional night of hotel stay, to accommodate themselves. So we're working with all the hoteliers to find a way to make it an attractive offering for all of the folks traveling from Japan into Guam.
Yeah. Speaking of the Japanese arrivals, as you probably know, the arrivals have been in a little bit of a slump still since the pandemic, especially compared to Korea. Can you take us back and explain what are some of the factors in that? I know a lot of it has to do with the exchange rate, yen to dollar. Talk about those factors that have, kind of perpetuated this kind of slump in arrivals from Japan.
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head in terms of the biggest factor. Certainly the exchange rate, the yen at 150 to the US dollar is a really challenging sales proposition for anyone, right? And so, think about it this way. Yesterday, it cost the Japanese traveler $100 to come and visit Guam, and today it's going to cost them $150 to experience the same thing. So it's very challenging economics for them. And so, we're doing a lot of different things to provide value, for the customer, and The good thing is, here at United Airlines, we have great partnerships with all of the travel trade community here, and so we've been really working hard with them to find a way to make the offering not just for this Haneda flight, but certainly a lot of focus and emphasis on this Haneda flight. But for all of our Japan flight offerings, to make it a little bit more attractive for the Japan traveler to pick Guam and keep Guam top of mind. Because we are combating a really terrible exchange rate conversion for them. On top of the currency conversion, I want to say that Asia's really opened up a really, really strong way and has really provided a competitive offering and has done a great job to open up their different countries. And so whether it's Taiwan, whether it's Korea, Thailand, Thailand right now is really, on fire for Japanese travelers. And so, their Japanese yen gets really far in those different countries. And so that's something that we're really challenged with, and just the plethora of offerings that, these competitive markets have, over Guam. And, I think the challenge is, for Guam as a destination, clearly, we're close. I think we are a very, very safe destination. The currency's a big challenge for us, but through COVID, we've had so many tourism businesses that have not reopened their doors. And so I think option tours and honestly, even small mom and pop type restaurants really haven't reopened their doors just because they haven't seen the volume of the tourism numbers come back. And so that's something that, as a destination, we need to work on collaboratively to reconcile because the destinations really are providing a significantly competitive offering for us. And so I think a lot of it gets corrected with the currency improving in Japan for sure. But in the meantime, we got to go out of our way to provide, friendly, amazing service to all of our visitors, whether they're from Japan or other destinations. But I really think that those are the significant challenges for us that we're combating against. And transportation on the ground, I think slowly but surely, kind of coming back together, as we see more and more regular visitations from folks. We need to see the red trolleys back on the road in full force. We need to see more busing services, to and from the airport and the different option tours. Those things, I think when the tour operators see that kind of confidence in the market, I think it gives them a little bit more comfort in selling the destination as well. And so we've got some work to do, but I know everybody's laser focused on rebounding the tourism industry for sure.
Yeah, and as Guam's tourism industry was built on the back of Japanese arrivals, and it, in your mind, continues to be one of the most important, if not the most important, source market for us.
Absolutely, Nestor. We've got a lot of investment in the Japan markets for sure. And so, outside of Tokyo, and the Narita area, United's the only one who's serving Osaka, Nagoya, Fukuoka. And we're really, kind of proud to be able to provide that service. And we've got deep rooted relationships with the travel trade industry in those different markets. But the reality is we've got a lot of capacity between Guam and Japan, and we don't have the customer base for it right now. And so, we're working hard to make sure folks understand we have a consistent schedule that we've put out there. So from a access perspective, there's no reason why folks can't book a ticket other than the currency challenges that we're seeing. And so we're trying to find a way to ensure that we're working with all of our partners to provide a great offering. But Japan has always been a great market for Guam. It's been the foundation of our industry. It's nice to see the Korea numbers coming in where they are. And I think Japan's slowly but surely creeping up a little bit. And so I think this boost in a little bit of additional flight activity and direct access into the Tokyo downtown proper area, I think is going to help us a little bit more.
How about the target Japanese demographic? Has that changed? And who would be the ones that we want to attract to Guam, or who would be more willing to come to Guam from Japan?
Well, Nestor, it's a great question. I think number one is we'll take anybody who wants to get on an airplane for sure. And so, we're not going to be picky, from that perspective. And I think the reality is the population is somewhat aging in Japan. So I think Guam continues to be a family destination. It's a generational destination. You have grandparents, you have parents, you have kids, you have grandkids, all taking the same trip together. And so we want to continue to build on that foundation. But we also think that that FIT traveler, the not so much just the office later, but the younger generation of Japanese folks who are looking for, kind of nice, quick, fun getaway. I think, there's a lot of opportunity for us to reach out to that particular group through the different new social media, kind of venues to really try to capture that business. And so rather than just the traditional, office lady type visitors and just the family destination, we can try to capture the young visitor as well. I will say, through COVID, we lost a lot of the school group traffic, but we are seeing that start to come back just a little bit. And I think that's a really important part of our visitor portfolio and something that we need to push hard on. And we're working with different school groups. We're trying to work with the university as well to try to connect with the different universities in Japan as well to try to promote visitation to Guam at that younger age. And so when they are in the professional workforce, we'll keep Guam top of mind as they remember the great time they had on a school experience trip here into the island.
All right, we got to take a quick break, but we'll be back with more of our conversation with Sam Shinohara, who is the United Airlines Managing Director for Airport Operations in the Pacific. We'll be right back.
The Hub is presented to you by Calvo Enterprises, Inc. The Hub is presented to you by Calvo Enterprises, Inc.
Welcome back, everyone. We're talking with Sam Shinohara, who is the United Airlines Managing Director for Asia Pacific. And Sam, before we went to the break, we talked a little bit about the Japan market, but I wanted to expand the discussion for United in general. How does the additional Haneda slot help with your global connections?
Oh, hey, I'll start with saying that we're gonna, with this Guam flight, we're gonna have up to 6 flights out of Haneda. And so, we had humble beginnings in Haneda. We had 1 flight to San Francisco before 2019, and so we've grown tremendously over there. In terms of connections, I will say that this flight in particular is not going to connect fabulously to the United Airlines flights in and out of the United States. It will connect directionally. So if you're coming in from any of the U.S. hubs that we fly into out of Haneda, you can connect coming into Guam. It will be a long connection time, but I promise you that there are so many amazing things to do at the Haneda airport that it might be something, an option that folks might be looking into. And so, so I think from that direction, coming back to Guam would be great. I think heading out, there are really no connections to the United States there, but we are going to be able to provide some connectivity into some of the Japan domestic cities that that our carrier partner ANA flies into, and so that's something that we are in direct discussions with ANA on to see what we can make work and how many different flights we can connect to. Right now, there's probably over a dozen different domestic destinations that folks can catch. But now with this new flight and the nature of our partnership with ANA, we can look at schedules and see what we can tweak to make things make sense. On the scheduling end, unfortunately, our arrival and departure times in Haneda we don't have the ability to change because we are locked into those particular slots. So there's no flexibility in there. But for opportunities to connect onto ANA and beyond, I think there probably be some significant opportunity for sure.
Yeah. Well, I got you here. I wanted to talk about the airline industry as a whole. As we know, the pandemic kind of put a big damper on the industry, and it did so for a couple of years. But now we're a couple of years removed from the pandemic, and before that, we were talking about pent-up demand and how the industry was going to rebound. What is the state of would you say of the airline industry currently?
Well, I think that's a different answer depending on which region you're speaking from. So, obviously the bounce back in the United States kind of sort of happened overnight as they released released the different restrictions that were in place on traveling. And so that kind of happened overnight. In fact, our U.S. business travel portfolio has, exceeded pre-COVID numbers. Our business into Latin America has been phenomenal. We've grown so much. In fact, in Latin America and Europe, we're bigger than we were prior to the pandemic. And in Asia, if you back out, or the entirety of the Pacific, if you back out all of the China flying that we're not doing today, we're actually larger today than we were prior to the pandemic. And so, our China flying hasn't come back in as robust a means as we would like it to be. And that's really a function of, both governments have restricted flight activity in and out of China. And so, until that bounces back, we kind of won't really be able to kind of see where things are. Japan has been very, very slow, for obvious reasons. The bulk of our business, outside of the Guam traffic, the bulk of our business is, traffic between Japan and the United States. And really, just the currency has challenged that business proposal. We have relaunched all of our flight activity for sure. The load factors are decent, but we are not as full as we were before. And so, the good thing is, I think, if you've been paying attention to United Airlines and our United Next program, is we are taking a significant number of airplane deliveries. And that really gives us the ability to look at things from a lens that we weren't able to look at it from before, because we were so airplane constrained before. But now we're taking airplanes every week, and that gives us the ability to grow. And quite frankly, while we're not getting a brand new airplane coming our way, we are getting an airplane to augment our fleet here. And without the airplane deliveries, we probably wouldn't be able to launch these new markets that we've added to this part of the world, and quite frankly, rebound the way we've rebounded. And so, I think the future is pretty bright for United Airlines in this part of the world. We're the largest carrier between the United States and this part of the world, and something that we continue to grow on. Nestor, just because I know it's very close to home for you, in October of last year, we launched the first ever service between Manila and San Francisco. That's worked out fantastic for us. And believe it or not, that's worked out great for the people of Guam as well, because we've now been able to increase our seat availability between Guam and Manila as a result of no longer having to connect customers from San Francisco and transit them over Guam into Manila. And we're able to provide that direct service. And so a lot more seats, a lot more access to inventory for folks. And so that gives folks a little bit more option. And so, this part of the world, I think, will bounce back fairly strong. I think the challenge is making sure that we're all prepared for that bounce back.
Yeah, I know you can't talk about specific fares, and I know that fuel is probably one of the biggest driver of those costs. But is there something else that can be done, or that your United is working on to help reduce fares?
Well, we're doing a bunch of different things, Nestor. We're doing our best to, on the fuel front, try to develop a lot of more sustainable aviation fuels, so that we can provide a reduced cost experience for everyone, but more importantly, be responsible stewards of the environment as well. In addition to that, I think, as we invest in newer airplanes, while those come at great expense and investment to United Airlines, they operate a lot more efficiently for sure. And so, I think the nature of the new technology that we introduce into the workplace will help us, facilitate that. But, the cost structure for the business has changed dramatically. Won't give you a specific example, but in different places, we're faced with different cost increases across the globe. And if you look at United Airlines, our cost, versus our cost today versus where we were prior to the pandemic are, something north of 30% of where we were. And so, everything's just incrementally expensive. We've seen that challenge here on the island as well. And we have so many different additional requirements requiring additional vendor support or additional manpower, challenging our ability to, kind of maintain the pricing levels. But it's something we definitely are keen and paying attention to, Nestor, for sure.
All right. So we started the conversation talking about the Guam Haneda flight. let's close it out with the Guam Haneda. I know tickets are on sale now, but you won't start the flight till May 1st?
If May 1st is our first flight, certainly we're going to have some fanfare attached to the inaugural flight. We're really excited about it. Want to close with just thanking everybody. So, I mean, we would not be in the situation we're today without the strong support of the Guam community. We worked really hard with everybody to try to make this work. The governor's been super supportive. The legislature's been supportive. The business community has been super supportive of our effort to secure these different flights, and the hotel community, all of the travel trade here, working in partnership with them, I think is what it's going to take to make it successful. So I just want to offer them my sincere appreciation and our commitment here at United Airlines to work with everyone to find a way to ensure that this flight is successful and enduring for the long term for sure.
All right, Sam Shinohara, United Airlines Managing Director for Airport Operations Pacific. Thanks for joining us.
Mr. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
All right, I'm Nestle Conte. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you again next week on The Hub.